Again, authorities responded at about 3:40 that afternoon and found two people inside the residence, with CBS News confirming that it was Rob Reiner. Some deaths leave people stunned, and some deaths leave people silent because they feared this day would come. Rob Reiner's death sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Two lives were lost inside their own home, while police offered little more than a cold, restrained phrase, a death investigation. No details, no explanations, just a vast emptiness filled with unanswered questions. While the public struggled to piece together what happened behind those closed doors, someone from the past unexpectedly spoke up. It was Rob Reiner's ex-wife. She did not appear on camera in tears, she did not describe the scene, and she did not ask why. Instead, she quietly said a single sentence, one that sent chills through many, about things people are only now beginning to talk about, saying she had heard for a very long time. From that moment on, rumors once dismissed as malicious began to resurface, stories of instability within the family, of a son carrying a troubled past, and of a will that left many questioning whether it was ever truly fair. This story is not meant to deliver a verdict. It does only one thing, to piece together the fragments that, after Rob Reiner's death, someone has finally dared to speak about, and to walk through each of those fragments together. I knew this would happen sooner or later. I just didn't think it would happen now. Rob Reiner's ex-wife said those words after police confirmed that the case was no longer being treated as a vague or unexplained death. It was a homicide. On the afternoon of December 14, 2025, at approximately 3:30 p.m., Los Angeles police and fire crews were dispatched to Rob Reiner's mansion in Brentwood. When they entered the home, Rob Reiner and his current wife were found dead. Just a few hours later, a critical detail was made public. Police believe both victims suffered stab wounds and the case is being investigated as a clear homicide. That information immediately changed how the public viewed the situation. This was no longer speculation about an accident or a sudden medical emergency. This was violence, and that violence occurred inside a home long considered absolutely safe. The moment the case was labeled a homicide, major questions began to surface, not from rumor, but from gaps in the timeline. According to police, an emergency call led authorities to the scene, but who made the 911 call when the victims were discovered, and what was seen first have not been publicly disclosed. In domestic homicide cases, this information is often crucial to reconstructing events, yet here that key piece remains withheld. The mansion itself sits on a quiet Brentwood street, an area known for its privacy. When police sealed off the neighborhood, there was no chaos and no witnesses describing frantic final moments. Everything was described as too orderly, unusually so, prompting reporters to ask a troubling question about what happened inside before everything ended. Another detail quickly surfaced in investigative reports. The home security camera system failed to provide complete data at the time of the incident. Some cameras were reportedly inactive while others did not yield usable footage. Police have not confirmed whether this was due to tampering or technical malfunction, stating only that the available data is insufficient to reconstruct the sequence of events. That raised a second question. How does a stabbing homicide occur inside a secured home without producing a clear visual record? Police confirmed the case has been assigned to the Robbery Homicide Division, underscoring its seriousness, yet during press briefings details remained scarce. Officials stated they were working with forensic evidence and all available data sources, repeatedly saying that some information would take time to verify, while specific questions remained unanswered. Where was the weapon found? What was the sequence of the stab wounds? And were there signs of a prior confrontation were all left unconfirmed. The absence of detail made it impossible for the public to focus solely on the crime scene, shifting attention backward to what came before December 14th. That is where a different perspective emerged, the perspective of someone who had left that house years earlier. Rob Reiner's ex-wife did not speak about cameras or knives. She spoke about atmosphere, about years in which the household existed, according to her, in a constant state of tension, about the feeling that a single trigger could cause everything to collapse. Some houses, she said, look peaceful from the outside, but inside they are not. Placed alongside a stabbing homicide, missing security footage, and an undisclosed 911 call, her words created a disturbing convergence, not evidence and not a conclusion, but a chain of unanswered questions. If everything happened so quickly, why is there no clear data? If there was conflict, why did no one outside notice? And if this was a homicide, what happened before the knife was ever used? Police will continue their investigation and forensic findings will eventually be released, but for now the case raises more than the question of who did what. It forces a harder question of what was overlooked for so long that things reached this point. After police confirmed the case was a stabbing homicide, public attention no longer remained focused solely on the Brentwood crime scene. Questions began drifting toward who was closest to the family and who truly understood what happened behind those closed doors. The name most frequently whispered, though never officially stated during press conferences, was Nick Reiner, Rob Reiner's son. The ex-wife was the first to push this suspicion beyond anonymous speculation. She did not claim to be the mother, nor did she say she lived with the person she referred to, speaking only of a young person in Rob's family who, according to her, repeatedly became a major source of tension in Rob Reiner's private life. She explained that she did not witness these issues firsthand inside the household, but became aware of them through Rob Reiner's own accounts and rare family encounters, describing not a single incident, but recurrent tensions that took a visible toll on Rob's emotional state whenever he returned home. Nick Reiner has long been a familiar name to American media, having publicly acknowledged struggles with substance abuse and mental health issues, often described as being in the past or in recovery. According to the ex-wife, those instabilities did not simply disappear, instead leaving a lasting impact on the atmosphere and relationships within the family. She recalled Rob repeatedly speaking about cycles of relapse, rehabilitation, and disappointment, about attempts to rebuild life that failed, personal projects that collapsed, and the heavy burden of living under the shadow of a famous father where every mistake felt magnified. She described periods of emotional volatility, withdrawal, irritability, and intense reactions, often coinciding with substance use, creating an unpredictable environment where everyone learned to anticipate moods out of concern that a single moment of lost control could push everything beyond its limits. What disturbed her most was not any single action, but the prolonged nature of the situation, years in which addiction never fully ended and failures followed failures, gradually eroding the family.